Hey there everyone, it's AJ and it is time for another video, and in today's video we are just doing a nice chill sketchbook session. I'm going to maybe use my to give me some ideas, maybe ask it what its favourite maybe ask it what its favourite animal is and see how that goes. And yeah, I'm just going to have a nice sort of chill a chill sketchbook session, and just basically just pick up your sketchbook and join me. Probably going to do a couple of pages, 20-30 minutes or so, and see how we get on. Finding a nice blank page to start off with. This is some other stuff that I've already done in this sketchbook. This is a relatively new sketchbook. I actually started this last week, so it's actually a week started. So yeah, just going to do nice and chill. And of course I have lost my sharpener. I'm actually going to just use my 4B pencil initially, just do some gestury type things and just sort of really feel the flow, as it were. So I might do some, let's see, just come around here, just sort of kind of have the thing here. I didn't want to, I kind of, it's been a bit of a sort of interesting week for me. I did the sketchbook fair video the other day, but I'd actually recorded I did that finished that up on the Tuesday. So yeah, oh, my pencils need of attention. Hopefully this pencil's okay, but luckily I've got loads of these pencils, so it's not too bad. This is just me sort of warming up, because this is the first time today that I've actually picked up the pencil. Actually, it's the first time in the last few days that I've actually picked up the pencil, which is a bit sort of thingy. A lot of stuff has happened, and it's just a case of you kind of just end up not sort of, the time just gets by and you don't really realise. I've been a bit drained the past sort of few days, so I'm kind of just wanting to really do this sort of thing. I'm kind of embracing summer a little bit here, actually. I think this character is sort of ready for summer, and maybe a bit like me, I'm kind of ready for sort of spring and summer now. I've kind of had enough of the winter thing. I think it's sort of just kind of it's done now. We're ready. I think this is just sort of a thing here. This is just really rough, actually. I'm actually quite liking the sort of way I've done this, though. See, this pencil, as I mentioned before in the sketchbook fair video, is actually quite nice. It allows you to be really loose and not have to worry too much about basically being clean with your lines. I think people tend to think that sketchbooks need to be this really clean type thing, and that kind of is what sets on that sketchbook sort of fear, as it were, because you don't feel as though you're going to be able to be clean in there. Obviously, if you may be using a really expensive sketchbook, then it's kind of inevitable that you don't want to really have that sort of, I'm just going to bring their hand this way a bit more, there we go. It's kind of inevitable that you're not going to want to really have that feeling of, I'm actually just wasting this sketchbook. So it's always ideal, maybe, sketchbooks don't have to be this sort of really fancy type of thing. I don't know what's going on with their hair here, but maybe they've actually got sort of twin tails. Yeah, so if you maybe don't look at purchasing like a really expensive sketchbook, I mean, this is probably considered expensive in like sort of normal standards, but you can go to places like the Works, particularly if you live in the UK, and get sketchbooks for about £3, which for 50 pages of stuff to sketch on, it isn't expensive. The paper's not the best, but then it allows you just to really do this. I use Winder and Newton just purely because I like a smoother textured sketchbook paper, so I tend to do that. I'll tell you who this is kind of giving me vibes of. Entraptor from She-Ra, sort of like with the hair. So let's bring the hair a bit more prevalent, I think, because Entraptor's hair was very sort of almost animatronic. Is that the right word? I'm not sure, but we're going to go with that and say that is what it is. I'm just she kind of had these goggles on her head as well. As you can see here, it's just very messy, and but you can still sort of like see the gesture of that there. Let's come over here and do this. This is just, as I say, me really warming up. I want to ask my to tell me what their favourite animal is, and do something like that. Hopefully it will give me something that's quite interesting to do. Maybe an anteater or something. Kind of not really sure what's going on here. Another thing that I'm really trying to focus on as well is the whole making sure I actually fill the sketchbook pages, because when I looked through my previous sketchbook, somebody did mention that I kind of like don't really fill up the sketchbook pages as much as I perhaps could do. No, it wasn't really that. It was more sort of like I didn't really fill up them all that much. Not that more than I could do. Obviously, a sketchbook is what you make it. Really, it's not really anybody else's sort of thing. What they meant was it's more sort of, I just sort of noticed this. So, but I did actually become quite conscious of that towards the end of the sketchbook anyway. So I did actually rectify that and finish the sketchbooks off a little bit more. But yeah, that's sort of like that here. This is just really messy. But this is what you can do with your sketchbooks, you see. It doesn't have to be the sort of really sort of refined stuff. This is just like getting ideas down. You can even put something here maybe. I'd say that this page has been successfully sketched upon. So let's flip on over to the next one. Now what I'm going to do is, because I don't want to ruin what I've already got under there, I've got some blank paper, just really rough sketchbook paper. I'm just going to pop that under there just so that it doesn't damage the whatever I've done below it. And that's something that you can do if you're worried about using the same pages on the other side of it, because if you do press quite heavily down, it can cause potential like damage and stuff. Computer, what's your favourite animal?
I'm fascinated by octopuses.
Octopuses.
We're only just starting to learn about how smart they are. And did you know they have 3 hearts and blue blood? Thanks for being interested in my favourites. To learn more about me, try asking when my birthday is.
I don't need to know when your birthday is, that's fine. I just needed to know what your favourite animal was. You didn't need to give me all of the other bits. So octopus. So I'm going to use my blue pencil here to do some sort of like initial sketching. And that's quite interesting actually. I think octopuses tend to have this sort of bell type look to them, if I recall, and almost a bit like, yeah. So what I'm going to do is let's let's do this and see there. So there was obviously in Finding Dory, if anybody managed to watch that sort of septopus, which basically just had one of its legs missing, as it were. This is kind of interesting, kind of doing that. Octopuses are renowned for being, no, I've lost track of how many legs I've done. They are renowned for being able to fit into very tight spots, basically. And yeah, so that's quite an interesting fact for octopuses. So I might actually, I might give him a top hat, just because. Oh, look at that! Yeah, that's actually quite interesting. Yeah, I actually quite like this. Give him a bit of a top hat. Let's do more of a side profile view here. I'm not giving that top hat again. The thing about this is because their legs kind of go wobbly, wibbly, wobbly, wobbly everywhere, sort of thing. You can kind of get away with doing whatever you want, kind of giving that sort of directional flow there. But yeah, that's actually quite interesting. Let's go over with my thick pencil now and just see what I can get from this. It's kind of like a sort of almost Victorian London sort of style octopus, isn't it, really? Let's come around here and bring that here. Again, I'm just being really loose with this. I wonder what this octopus's name could be. Just out of curiosity. Octavius. Is that two? I think. Let me just count how many legs I've done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 legs so far. Octavius. Yeah, I don't know about Octavius. I think that's a bit sort of too maybe cliche. It's like kind of obvious, isn't it, really, that that'd be like a sort of go-to name for an octopus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. Just bring that to there. I'm not going to give him any like hair or anything. I think that would be a bit too weird. But I'm actually sort of really liking the way that looks. I think actually, if I think about it, it's going to be more sort of not necessarily a sort of lip there. It's kind of almost going to be that part of his body, because I think the mouth is like would be round here underneath the inside of it somewhat. So that's looking quite interesting for an initial sort of sketch. Let's just move on to this one. This is just like sort of to get ideas down, and this is the reason why I've got such a small sketchbook. It's just kind of like really to get ideas. I'm not really wanting to go into detail, and I think if you've got a bigger sketchbook, you tend to try and do more detail, and that kind of breaks the point of it. I'm going to shade a bit around here. This is what I like about this pencil as well, as you can actually just go in and shade nicely there as well, like that. Yeah. So what we were thinking, Octavius, Otto. Otto, maybe? What do we think to Otto? Let me know in the comments what you think we could name our little octopus character. Thank you for giving me the idea for Octo. Yeah, let's kind of nice and interesting there. Let's move on to the next page. I don't think I've got anything on the side there, so that's good. What next? Computer. What's your favourite film?
My all-time favourite film would have to be Back to the Future. It's a flawless piece of family-friendly cinema magic. Great Scott!
You're right there, great Scott. Let's go into portrait mode. And let's do our good friend, the Doc from Back to the Future. This is the only downside to pencil crayons, is sometimes you can waste so much or any sort of pencil really, you can waste so much thing just purely because it keeps snapping. The Doc, let's just start up with the head. Although actually they've kind of got their sort of hairstyle there. Let's do him looking up, because I think the Doc was a sort of always looking up type person. He's had quite a sort of wiry frame, didn't he? He was sort of like that crazed professor type person. His lab coat as well. And there. I actually really enjoyed Back to the Future, and the whole series is actually quite good. It didn't really. I don't think Back to the Future had that sort of sequel syndrome type thing. I think all the films were great films, and I don't know, it just didn't just really stood out as a sort of great film for basically just generally. I think it was just such an interesting film, and I think it was like, it kind of really talked about the sort of trials time travel could provide. And yeah, I mean, that whole idea of potentially being erased out of existence is kind of interesting there. I don't want to go into too much, just in case for somehow somebody's not watched it and it might spoil it, but if you've not watched it, I implore that you go and watch it. I do think that it's on Netflix. Well, it's definitely on the British Netflix, I'm pretty certain, or at least it has been in recent times. But yeah, it's definitely sort of interesting to watch. One of the iconic things for the Doctor was his sort of wild hair. I think that's definitely something that I remember from him in that series. So I'm definitely going to make sure that that's incorporated in it. I'm going to put this electric cable going through his hands, just to kind of give it a bit of a reason why he might be in this sort of random pose. For those of you that have watched it, you will more than likely, hopefully, get the reference.
I understood that reference.
If you've not watched it, then you will get the reference eventually if you do go and watch it. Actually, yeah, no, let's bring that around there, so that will come in there like that, and then yeah, that is good. Let's just go and add a bit more, just refine this sort of a little bit now, and come here like that. As I say, because this is just purely for like sketching purposes. I'm still being very loose, so I'm not really focused too much on getting it really clean. Hair kind of going here, there and everywhere. Kind of looks very young though, doesn't he? He doesn't look, perhaps maybe I need to round off his chin a little bit more. Like that. Let's come in there. Like here. What's up with that? That'll do for now. Round there. Give him a darker shirt just to do the contrast of his white lab coat. And then let's give him the crazy hair here as well. Okay, yeah, I'm actually quite happy with that. And I think I've been going on for quite some time. So, but I think that is what I would consider a nice, successful sketchbook session. So, as you can see, we went from this sort of really rough type sketching and just general sort of like, just basically loosening it up, getting some ideas of gesture and things like that. We then moved on to asking what their favourite animal was, and we came up with Otto, the octopus, which I think looks quite good. I might actually expand on that one a little bit more because I just really like Otto the octopus. And then we've got Doc from Back to the Future, Doc Back to the Future, who again is from favourite film. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed just having a bit of a sketchbook session and going through doing this and coming up with some great characters. So what I will ask is, if you are still here at this point of the video, please make sure you've hit the like button and also subscribed to my channel so you can be notified, because it's clear that you enjoy my videos. If you didn't, you wouldn't have lasted this long. And also hit the bell notification to be notified as to when I post videos, which is now every Saturday around this sort of time. Well, 7 p.m. this sort of time doesn't work because obviously you could be watching this at 8 o'clock in the morning following week, and that wouldn't work, would it? But yeah. So what I'll say is, until next time, I'll see you later.